Welcome to this video, part 10 of the World Championship appetizing series, presenting remarkable, memorable games by the two participants. It's time for a Carlsen game, and I've tried to go through his games and try to find interesting games that are not so well known. In fact, I've covered quite a lot in recent years. I started the channel in 2011 and I have done some coverage of super tournaments where very often Carlsen's games were featured. So I'm going back a bit more in time to 2008 here and showing a game where he had black against Alexander Huzman. Probably not GM that all of you know, but he's a very, very accomplished player. He's long-time coach and assistant of Boris Gelfand. He's not playing that much nowadays. He's more focused on being Gelfand's top second. Still, he always hovers around 2,600 rating, so very good GM. He also beat Kasparov in 2000. 1 or 2 years before he retired, around that time, so really a good player. Okay, let's see what happens. We get a Queen's Indian, and I should just mention this was played in the European Club Cup, the top club competition of Europe, where Carlsen has played in this year, in 2008. Those kind of events, the European Club Cup, the European Team Championship, the Chess Olympiad, they are very good they're very nice from a game point of view, because you have some matchup that you rarely see, where really top players are playing the kind of strong GMs, like here Carlsen with 2,800 something playing a 2,600 GM. And you know, those guys with 2,600, they know a bit about chess, and still they very reliably get beaten by the better players. And those are often very instructive, because you cannot really say that the 2,600 GM played badly, because they know what they're doing, but the other guys are simply stronger. All right, so the Queen's Indian, and Huzman is going for G3 and Bishop A6. This is nowadays the main line, getting play against this pawn, and White for years almost exclusively has played B3. However, in recent years a move gained popularity that was basically considered harmless for ages, Queen C2, just protecting the pawn with the queen, and it was considered harmless because after Magnus plays this one, it was considered harmless because it was always believed that the move C5 would give black good play, because the queen is on the C file, and you always thought that, okay, after the capture here or after white capturing, this queen is not particularly well placed. But it was discovered that white can sacrifice a pawn here with D5, takes, and Bishop B7. Now it's impossible to protect the pawn. This one is not advisable, winning a piece. But after Bishop B7, white just gives away the pawn for compensation, and it's a very complicated position that arises. Also a position which has been discussed in detail at top level. So what Carlsen is doing here is pretty typical of his style. He plays a secondary line that is still playable, but far less committal. Just gives a check and retreats. This is of course a common theme in the Queen's Indian, where black argues that this bishop is not particularly well placed. Yeah, that is true, but in this concrete position white has the opportunity to play e4, and he takes it, occupy the center. Black's idea is this counter strike. It immediately attacks the center, and white's best line is what Huzman played. He took on d5, and black takes here, king takes, ed5 and now e5. This makes lots of sense. White can use g3 as a preparation move now for the king. So this lost castling rights isn't big of a problem. And yeah, white gains space in the center. Black occupies the central post, and white is busy to exchange this active piece. And well, black doesn't have much choice. Takes it. Pawn takes, and queen to d7. So what is black's idea? We see in the game, black's idea is actually to use this knight on e6 as a blockading piece. I mean, this isn't a pure blockade because they have pawns. f4, f5 is a possibility, but the knight on e6 is nicely placed behind this pawn on e5, and it supports c5. This is black's general idea, and what white tries to do is to break in the center, or in the long run play f4, f5, but we see that white is quick here with c4. A good plan, and we can probably state that white has a nice position here. He doesn't have any problems at all, and he has some pressure on the queen side, so it's nothing to worry about at the moment for white. Yeah, here Carlsen played knight to d8, just going for this maneuver, improving the knight, using it on e6. But of course it's a very concrete position already. The first thing to check here for white is the capture, and this is in fact what was played in the game. Carlsen recaptured, and here the first concrete line needs to be calculated. What about this pawn? Yeah, white could take the pawn. It's something to consider. Knight e6 is the idea. Queen retreats, probably to c3. And then something like rook d8, bishop e3, and g5 leads to an interesting position where black enjoys some compensation for the pawn. It's really unclear. Cannot really say that black is having more than compensation, but it's an interesting way to play. This pin is of course the essential idea. Probably h3, and even f5 can be considered. Still intending g4, and this is just a complicated position that black can try to play for a win with some risk, of course, but it's interesting. Huzman didn't take. He played another move, and not a bad one, not at all. Check. He played queen a4 check, which is perfectly alright. Carlsen played c6 here. One problem is if you go queen d7 here, that check. That this is very debatable. This pawn here severely restricts the knight, and it's not so clear how black should untangle. He can play something like that, but it looks tricky. Carlsen played c6. He didn't want to exchange queens also, I guess, and try to keep the game going. Of course, he wants to win as black, or at least try for winning chances. b5 wasn't a good idea. It just weakens the queen side too much, especially here. So c6 and rook c1. Yeah, and now we get to the first very critical position of this game. Yeah, what should black do? White has got lots of pressure here on the c file, and yeah, normal would be a move like castles, and it's not really a bad move, but this is the kind of normal move you would play. And then white can try to build up on the c file. One first idea could be queen c4, where it's a bit of a problem that black faces. You don't really want him to take and get to the 7th rank. And if you take here, white is very quick with increasing pressure, or rook b1, a4. It's always this pawn that needs protection, and if you move the knight on d8, it is lost. I mean, it's simply a bit of a it's an advantage for white. So what did Carlsen play? He played a very bold move, King d7. Yeah, this is a creative solution. The king is used to cover the weak pawn, and this immediately complicates matters and sort of provokes white to try for something. This is a tool to play for win. Play a continuation that puts you under a bit of risk. I mean, not a bad move. I mean, not playing bad moves, but a bit of provocation can help. Let's see what happens. This is what Huzman played. Not bad at all. This bishop on d2 wasn't doing much, and it's exchanged against this bishop that also helps in defending the dark squares. There were many alternatives, of course. White also could have tried to improve or increase here on the c-file, which probably after knight e6, rook c1, rook c8, maybe this one. Yeah, this kind of line could have been tried. A funny idea in this position is that after g5, threatening this move, white can actually play this as queen takes d5 is winning for white. Wins the queen. And it's just a decisive attack. Black has no way to defend this. Just an idea. Black doesn't need to take. He can play some improving move instead. This one maybe. So it's a very complicated fighting position, and many possibilities. White went for this move, which, as mentioned, isn't bad. Now b5. And a5. Gaining space and allowing some additional or giving some additional options, like rook a6 to defend, rook a7, c7. This expansion is helpful. Queen b3 and knight e6. And we can conclude that black managed, by using this interesting king d7 setup, has managed to get the knight to e6, and he's probably okay here. Maybe one of those more complicated options, like this rook c3 instead of bishop b4, was a bit stronger. White isn't in any trouble, but it doesn't look like he still plays for some edge. But okay, what move should white play here? There are many possible ways to just keep the position as it is. Let's say rook b1 or something, just not doing much. However, there is another option, which is also the most interesting move in the position. Huzman now played the fascinating sacrifice, rook takes c6. A move you can easily overlook, really, with both sides, that this should be possible. But in fact, it is possible. The first simple point is, if you take with the king, rook c1 Check. Just wins. This you can see quickly. King doesn't have a square where it's not losing the queen. So this is what black played. And now d5. So Huzman has sacrificed this rook to bust open the center and get the king out in the open. Now this position, of course, requires good calculations and great nerves, and both are definite strength of Magnus Carlsen.
Check.
Takes on e6. Certainly the only move. You need to regain some of the material. And king takes. The king advances. If you look at the alternative, f takes, rook d1 check.
Check.
king e7, probably necessary, going to the e file. This isn't so great. Intending rook c1. He probably needs to go somewhere on the e file, let's say here, or to e7, probably e7, and then queen e3. And this looks tricky. There's queen g5, and in fact the computer gives this as equal, probably leading to some kind of perpetual. What Carlsen played, however, king takes e6. It's simply that he is a very, very good calculator of variations, and he always tries to play the most challenging way. I mean, you could at first think, okay, this is a risky move because the king is really wide out in the open, especially if you consider that white now played knight d4 check, and after this black's plan is yeah, it's clear what he's doing. He's playing king d5. This was the idea of the king move, king takes e6. But you see, this is a provocation. White really, knight d4 is a tempting move, and in fact knight d4 is a move that really makes it difficult for white to actually achieve a draw. He can achieve a draw with precise play to get a perpetual check, but this is difficult to do, and he's always trying to set the utmost problems possible.
Check.
Yeah, king d5. So what should white do now? Instead of knight d4, I should mention that, of course, white also could have played queen e3. This is an interesting way to keep the game going with this idea. However, it's probably not objectively better. Knight d4 is okay, but it's really, white needs to be really precise after that. King d5, and here it gets critical. White now plays a very natural looking move, and it is an okay move, but the problem is after that you're in a position where you really need to play the only playable move all the time. Here white had a good alternative. He played queen f3. I should put that on the board, giving away this knight even. And I think this is just the most obvious move, because okay, you calculate the capture, and the king is even advancing further. So this is also the first move I would calculate. It seems, however, that queen a3 also was a good move, and maybe a somewhat easier. You can. This is always debatable. What move is easier to find? This is, of course, the idea. But what happens if black captures? Queen takes, it's even losing.
Check.
Due to this check.
Check.
Yeah, this check. And you lose the queen. At least. Probably more. In fact, king takes is the move that black must play. And yeah, what now? Now there's more than one way to get to the draw. The probably easiest or cleanest way is rook c1. The queen is just attacked. And what should black do? After this check, black is even in some trouble. There's queen f3 mate threatened. And after king takes, there's queen e7.
Check.
And black is in trouble. Note that this is an additional idea. Here, queen d5 is in fact a mistake. What black should do is play rook c8 or queen b4. We can look at queen b4. There's queen e3. Oh, I didn't see that. Sorry. But rook c8 is a possibility. Intending to recapture. Let's say check.
Check.
And then there's the c pawn, giving some counterplay. Probably this will end in a draw because the c pawn is just very strong, and this king is so wide open that there will probably a perpetual that white needs to take. Queen a3 was a possible alternative. He played
Check.
Queen f3, which is still okay. Rook takes. And now, exactly now is the critical position that decides the game. Black has done everything to get to this point where there needs to be one precise move played, and Huzman fails to do so. It is possible that it was already a bit of a time issue, since I don't have any time recorded for this game. It's possible that this was one important issue here. He played Queen e3 check.
Check.
And in fact this move loses. The only way, absolutely only way to draw here was Rook e1 with this idea. And it seems that this should hold the draw. One possible line is king back.
Check.
Check. And here we are already, oh no, now king e6, sorry. King d5, and now white can play e6. This is the point, sorry. And introducing this idea. Yeah, white will get a perpetual here. After Queen e3 check, there's also Queen d4.
Check.
King d5.
Check.
Yet another check. And
Check.
you see that the black king is on the run.
Check.
Yeah, and here we are nearing the
Check.
perpetual.
Check.
And that's it. A perpetual. Or let's say black needs to take now. If he goes here, there's
Checkmate.
a bit of a embarrassing mate. Black can take and needs to take. And now f6. And this is the way to go back for the king. And these pawns are strong. White will
Check.
finish the game now
Check.
with checks. So it's all about precise calculation here. And let's return to the game.
Check.
He played Queen e3, King d5, only move. And this, of course,
Check.
fails easily. So it's Rook d1,
Check.
King e6. Yeah, and now we see that after Rook d6, this was played, King e7, Queen
Check.
g5, King e8. The king returns from d4 all the way back to e8. And it looks like dodging bullets, but it seems to work. Black's king is invincible. However, it still requires precise play. White now played e6, and here try to find the best move. This is not easy, really. The king is still wide open, and of course it has moved numerous times. You cannot castle. Would be nice to do, but you cannot do that. So what is the most precise way to play here? Note that white is threatening to open up the position further, or sometimes play Rook d7. Magnus played the best move here, Rook c8. This is the best move, getting the rook into play, and it just gets to a position where white has no attack anymore. But one amazing point here is that in this position white had one move available that he didn't play. He took on f7.
Check.
After that it's relatively easy for black. An amazing thing about this position is that after the move h4 that white could have played, giving the king some room on h2, after h4 that black only has exactly one way to win. And this is quite amazing. It's a bit of a shame that Huzman didn't play that, because it would have been great to see if Carlsen would have found the winning line here. It's possible that he would have done so, but it's just a great line. Let's have a look. Black takes, the only move that saves the draw, amazingly. That wins, sorry. Black wants to win, of course. And the big thing is the coming move. Queen here. And it first looks like a disaster. This is threatened. And there are all kinds of threats here. But black has exactly one move to win. And this is the fantastic move rook g8. Yeah, this is just amazing. Queen takes,
check,
king e7. And we have a double attack with the king. It exposes the queen to the attack and threatens the rook. And white simply has no square for the queen where it protects the rook on d6. And this is
check,
also perfectly coordinated. So an amazing resource, rook g8. And it's a shame that this wasn't played with the h4 move, but because it would have been great to see if would have been found. But okay, it's not even over. It's it continues. Let's check first. White can also take here. And what should black do now? There's still only one move to win. Rook g4. And I mean the point is completely insane. If white now attacks the rook, black has this move. It's I know it's very computerish, but it's just a fascinating line. It introduces this defensive possibility, and if white takes, there's queen f1,
check,
and black gets a vicious counter attack.
check, check,
Like that.
check,
Yeah,
check,
get the rook at the end. I mean, this is completely insane, but it's a line that needs to be shown, because it shows that sometimes in chess things are possible that you simply don't imagine possible. But he didn't play h4. It would have been very interesting to see what happened after that.
check,
He played the capture, and after queen takes, it was a much easier defensive task. And
check,
okay, queen b7 check, king h3, rook f8,
check,
and black really keeps everything
check,
under control.
check,
Lots of checks, but the king runs away after a couple
check,
of more moves.
check, check,
Yeah, and black counter attacks now. I don't really need to show or give any more lines. Black is completely winning here. White doesn't even have a meaningful check here. And yeah, an interesting game also because of the lines, especially h4 would have been an amazing resource that would have put black under some pressure to find the winning continuation. This h4 idea with this fantastic point. Yeah, but what is remarkable about this game is that in all these complications, black played absolutely perfect chess. I mean, there were many ways to go wrong, go to some wrong square with the king, or blunder or whatever, but he simply didn't. He always played the most challenging move, setting problem after problem after problem, and yeah, the people crumble under in these situations where the opponent is constantly playing good moves and playing the most demanding moves that you really don't have any leeway after. You only have one or two possible replies and need to find them. And yeah, very strong players crumble under the pressure. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this game. Bit of an interesting, yeah, less technical game for a change. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll be back with a new video, yeah, tomorrow. Thanks for watching.